All right, hello pre-calculus people. I just wanted to do a pretty quick video about some of the other properties of some of the parent functions. I'm not going to go through all of them. Remember, you definitely want to know the name, the equation, a rough sketch of the graph, and the domain and range. But a couple of them have some different properties that I want to make sure that you see. And the main ones that I want to talk about are exponential, logarithmic, and rational. Okay, and yeah, so those are the main things I'm going to hit on right now. Just again, I'm not going to talk about anything else about the domain, stuff like that, but some extra properties. So let's talk about the exponential. So here's the graph of this thing. A couple things to notice about this. The graph of the exponential does have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0, the x-axis. And the other thing I want you to know about the exponential, the parent function at least, is it has that y-intercept at 0, 1. Okay, so if you have your notes from a couple days ago when we went through reviewed all the parent functions, you might want to jot that down for the exponential and kind of get that in your head too. Okay, so that's the exponential function. And remember, as I go through these, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. If you need to pause the video, go back and write and jot those down on your notes. I'm sure you do that. Next one we'll talk about is a logarithmic function. And again, remember we talked about the exponential and the logarithmic being inverses of each other. So this one has a vertical asymptote at x equals 0. That vertical line there on the y-axis. And similar thing, notice this has no y-intercept, but it does have an x-intercept. So it has an x-intercept here at 1, 0. Okay, and again, that's for the logarithmic function or ln, either one. Okay, so you got to definitely want to know those two things about the log function. And the only other one I really want to talk about is the rational function. And that was that guy. And this one is interesting because it has no intercepts. At least the parent function doesn't, but it does have two asymptotes. So it has a horizontal asymptote at 0, and then it has a vertical asymptote also at x equals 0. So horizontal asymptote at y equals 0, and the vertical asymptote at x equals 0. Okay. Also, the interesting thing about this, we're going to get into increasing and decreasing intervals today, but I'm going to kind of make this little side note here. This function is actually decreasing on the entire domain. And we'll talk more about decreasing and increasing class today, but that's a little side note on that property of the rational function. The other functions are pretty straightforward. There's no asymptotes on the other functions. The only ones that have asymptotes are exponential, logs, and rationals. And the intercepts on the rest of them are at 0, frankly. So you don't know a whole lot about those. So make sure to know those, put those on your notes for your parent functions. And until next time, stay safe.